But,
I mean,
you know, if they actually got in and had a fair dinkum fight about some of this stuff, I mean, I argued this last night. I think the government's incredibly vulnerable on cost of living. But when you are joined at the hip with Labor on your energy policy, and energy now is cost of living, it's everything else as well, because it's an input cost into everything, you've got nowhere to go. And that research today from UGA that says 1 in 2 Australians are worried about renewables,
but that's
worried
the point.
about the power price increase.
You just made the main point. You just made the main point. So let's forget about these terms like net zero or Paris, which they'll all go on about, as will the journos for the next few days. The point is to differentiate. And so if they say we have a more... they don't even have to say we have sort of a lower emissions target than Labor. They should be saying we have a more realistic emissions target for Labor. They've got their blinkers on this. We don't mind a transition, but it's got to be orderly and technology dependent. And so we're not going to drive up your bills in order to reach a goal the rest of the world aren't. That's got to be the pitch, and I think it will be. And I think that's where they can actually, for the first time on this, get a differentiation with Labor for the first time in a couple of years, and I think it will make a difference. So they have to get the focus on how Labor are, as they put it, bungling the transition. That has to be the entire focus. They can't get hung up on words like net zero. If the majority of the party room wants to get rid of that, I mean, 2050 is so far away anyway, let alone 2100, who cares? They have to come up with a firm position saying, you guys are bungling this, you're rushing ahead with it, and it's not about the best for Australia. We have a different approach, but we're not throwing emissions reductions out the window. There you go, there's their sell for them. How they continue to tie themselves in knots
by the end of the century. That's all
how they continue to tie themselves in knots in it, really, well, it's a gift to Sky News, that's all I can say, because we have something to report on every day.
I have to tell you, I'm pretty sick of it. I would love to talk about all the other issues that are going on in the country. I mean, there's some huge problems, but they've got to jettison the time frame. I think that's the most important thing, because once you move off the time frame, you agree with the manana at the end that you want lower emissions, but you get away from the time frame, because the time frame is what's killing Labor. They're setting these arbitrary targets, they're pushing harder, deeper, faster, and that's causing fragility of the system. That's what's driving up prices and sending businesses offshore.
The Nats have a time frame
out.
The Nats have a time frame. They just have lower ambitions.
Paris is end of century.
No, but they've got 20.
They're saying
30 to 40% reduction by 2035. And obviously Labor's saying 48 by 2030. But they have something of a time frame, just lower ambition than Nats.
All right, well, we will leave it there. Let's talk about the fact that you quietly told the PM's pretty happy that his COP31 bid to have it hosted in Adelaide next year at a cost of between $1 to $2 billion for Australian taxpayers looks like it might fail.
Well, I have to be honest about this. I'm not quietly told, it's just my sense, because he'll never admit that. But, I mean, it's just logical. And it just seems to me that he's not pulling out all stops for it, is he? He's not travelling to Brazil right now to get on the front foot and really get out there. He's not calling Erdogan from Turkey every day. He's written him a letter. So I just feel that, you know, from our political experience or my experience as a political journalist and your experience in politics, would you really want this one, Peter? I mean, I could see it developing into another voice for Labor. Another voice. On the other hand, Albanese's got to tell Chris Bowen he wants it, he's got to tell the Pacific neighbours he wants it, and he's got to tell sections of his constituency he wants it. So I think the Turkey thing is almost convenient for him. And we know in New York, when I was there at the UN General Assembly, Bowen was working really hard, meeting Turkish officials, trying to make it happen, but Albanese didn't so much. So I just think Albanese sort of thinks it's a good aspiration to be seen to have, but if you don't get it, it's probably a blessing.
Yeah, I think it's a blessing. We'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Andrew.